Have you ever felt a power so immense, so terrifying that you weren't sure if you were its master or its prisoner? Imagine being hunted in the deepest, darkest corners of the world, where the only light comes from glowing crystals and the only friend you have is a cursed, bloodthirsty sword. The undercove's hum suddenly spiked, a sharp, piercing tone that vibrated through the very stone beneath my feet. The crystals, usually a soft, ambient blue, flared with an eerie, sickly green glow. The shadows around me didn't just deepen. They churned and writhed, as if alive. From that swirling darkness, 3 figures emerged. Orthodox Drow scouts. Their black armor was a masterpiece of cruel design, etched with thorny, jagged runes that seemed to pulse with a faint, malevolent light. Tattered red cloaks, souvenirs from their last raid, billowed around them like streams of dried blood. But it was their eyes that truly chilled me to the bone. They burned with a fanatical, unholy zeal, a hatred so pure it was almost beautiful in its awfulness. Their blades, wickedly curved and gleaming, seemed to thirst for my life. Heretic spawn, one of them hissed, the words slithering through the cavern air. He didn't wait for a response. He lunged, a blur of black and red, his blade aimed straight for my heart. My name is Quillon. I'm young, and my silver hair was matted with sweat and grime from days of running. My bullet eyes, wide with a mix of terror and defiance, tracked the incoming attack. Time seemed to slow. This was Italiano. This was how I'd die, branded a heretic by my own people. But I wasn't entirely alone. A voice, ancient and terrible, roared not in the cave, but inside my own mind. It was Gromak, the entity bound to the cursed sword in my grip. Let me feast, boy. The blade in my hand, a simple-looking long sword until now, flared with an explosion of dark energy. A wave of pure shadow erupted from the steel, not just blocking, but swallowing the scout's strike. There was a clang of metal, but it was muffled, as if happening a world away. My body, my lithe frame, moved without my command. It was an instinctive, fluid dance of death, guided not by my will, but by the sword's insatiable hunger. Gromak's power surged through me, a torrent of raw, untamed energy. It was intoxicating and terrifying all at once. My arm swung, the sword a black arc in the glowing cavern, and I parried another scout's thrust with a force that wasn't my own. The impact sent shudders up my arm, but the sword seemed to drink in the shock, humming with pleasure. More! Gromak screamed in my head, his voice a chorus of battle cries and dying screams. Their souls are ripe for the taking. The third scout, seeing his comrades momentarily repelled, tried to flank me. His movements silent and predatory. He was a whisper in the dark, a phantom of death. But the sword knew. It pulled my body around, my feet barely touching the rocky ground. I spun, the blade leading the way, and met his attack with a shower of sparks. The scout's eyes widened in surprise. They expected a frightened boy, an easy kill. They found a puppet masterfully wielded by a demonic force. I was a passenger in my own body, watching through my own eyes, as I fought with a skill I could only dream of possessing. Every dodge, every parry, every lightning-fast riposte was Gromak's design. The cursed sword was not just a weapon. It was a partner, a teacher, a parasite. We danced through their coordinated attacks, a whirlwind of silver hair and dark steel against the backdrop of the flaring green crystals. The first scout, the one who had called me a heretic, recovered his balance. He snarled, his fanaticism overriding his fear, and charged again, this time with a wild, desperate fury. He brought his blade down in a heavy, two-handed cleave meant to shatter my guard and my bones. Fool, Gromak cackled. Instead of meeting the blow head-on, the sword guided me to duck under the whistling arc of his blade. The motion was so fluid, so impossibly fast, that the scout's momentum carried him stumbling forward. In that single fleeting moment of vulnerability, Gromak seized control completely. My arm snapped out, not with a slash, but with a precise, brutal thrust. The dark energy flared, and the tip of the sword found a gap in the scout's thorny armor. He let out a choked gasp, his fanatical eyes finally showing a flicker of shock and pain before the light within them was extinguished forever. One down. The cavern fell silent for a heartbeat, the only sounds the hum of the crystals and the ragged gasps of the two remaining scouts. Their zeal was now tainted with something new: fear and Gromak. Gromak was just getting started. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the deep. If you enjoyed this story and want to find out what happens next to Quillon and the cursed sword Gromak, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to share the rest of the adventure with you. See you in the next video.